Hey everybody, it's your old pal Billy Blue Gloves here with a Ticonderoga number 2 and a Diamond Dots light board. This is from a picture behind my paper. Here is a picture of this character that I printed out, and the purpose of tracing this and having the light board here is to get the proportions correct. So no matter how well you render something, if the proportions are not right, it won't look good. And conversely, if you don't render very well, uh, it will look okay if the proportions are correct. So this is all about proportion. And I'm just trying to get the vague placement of these shapes. I'm not trying to draw anything. I'm just trying to get the placement of the shape. And you see there that now we have it. So for this part, what's important to me is that the horizon line behind the character lines up with roughly where her eyes are, and that this building and this mountain ridge thing are roughly parallel to that horizon line. That's mainly it. I'm just trying to suggest a background, um, and it's just an exercise. That's all this is. So now going back over some of these lines, I'm trying to get the biggest shapes and the darkest things first, and you're just kind of moving around and not really thinking. And I don't mean that you're never thinking. Thinking is an important part of drawing, but I'm saying in this moment right here, look at these mountains that I'm hashing out here. There's not a lot of thought other than to fill that space in the fastest way possible. So that's what I mean by not thinking in the moment. So planning involves thinking for sure. Developing techniques and strategies definitely involves thinking. But in the moment, we want to not think less. And we definitely don't want to overthink. That's what stops a lot of people, I believe. I mean, look at all these lines that I've redone that were not correct, and you redo them. Just go over it. It's messy, it's fine. Underneath my paper here, I've got a placemat that has a texture. Sometimes I do that, just put something behind the paper that is roughly like the texture that you're trying to get. A little Sharpie to close out the frame. I'm always thinking in terms of film, so here's the Micron 08. Once I'm at this point, I'm going to start using the largest, maybe not every time, but most of the time, the largest, I shouldn't say the largest because I have a 12 and a 10, but the 8 is a good place to start for this size of drawing, unless I'm trying to do something that's really thick. But generally speaking, I'm going to start with the 8 and go over the most important parts. The outline of the main character is definitely really important. And I'm looking for a little line variance here, but not much yet. Just kind of looking around and finding the most important parts. Things that are going to be dark, a little bit darker. I just went ahead and filled that corner in because it looked like something, it's all subconscious, something you could fill quickly with that, just a quick back and forth. Now, this is the 5 here, so I've got the Pigma Micron, the next size down for some of these other shapes. And I will eventually move to the 3. And so forth. The 1 is going to be the last thing, usually. So I'll go in with the 3 here in a minute and do the designs on her tails. But for now, just going through this next level And the X, as always, is going to represent, I'm just going to remind myself that that's going to be something I need to fill in. And that's part of the not thinking, which is just, I don't want to think about that later. When it comes time to, I'll probably do that with a Sharpie. When it comes time to do that, I just want to get the Sharpie out and look for X's, fill them in. This is definitely my favorite part of this drawing, no question about it. Shapes that are not meant to be precise. I mean, you could probably go through and say, oh, this shape is exactly here, and but I'm just not going to do that. Nobody cares whether or not it's perfect, because this is more of an organic thing, and I love the way I have just a short area to fill with these lines. This is kind of a thing that out of habit, I do while I'm on the phone or talking to somebody in a meeting. I just have to concentrate. I have to do this. And so this is what I'm doing right here is a deeply ingrained habit, and I love it. And when I'm able to apply it to something like this that serves a piece of art or something, I really love it. So that was my favorite, minute and a half of that drawing right there, for sure. And here comes the Pigma FB. This is also made by Sakura, who makes the Pigma microns. And this is the FB. It's a fine point brush tip. And this one's actually almost out, so I need to get another one. But I'm going to go ahead and use it. There are various ways to extend the life of these things. When I was really poor, I used to pull the top off and pour ink down the tube and try to get some more use out of it. I might cover that kind of thing in another video, like how to, if you're on a budget, how to extend the life of these things, because I've tried everything that there is. This thing is, at this point, it's almost really to the point where it's not going to work as a filling in, so I start using it here as a technique, because I recognize that it's really running out. Look at this here. It's almost like a dry brush technique. Here is the Atoya calligraphy double header. It's got two chiseled ends. I'm using the smaller of the two ends, and you can see here what I'm doing. This is just a way to fill in a texture like this. To me, this is the easiest way to do this, to fill them all in. It does take a little bit of concentration. If you get bored of this, just do something else and come back to it. But you can see what it ends up looking like. And I might go ahead and use it for things nearby while I'm there. This is now a Sharpie that I'm using on this part here, filling in. Some of these techniques are not the way I usually draw, but I'm trying to learn how to record myself drawing as I do this, and so it's definitely not my best work and sometimes not my usual techniques, but there's a lesson in that, because that's a lesson in flexibility, which is I'm going to get the job done no matter what. I'm not going to say I don't have the right tools or the right circumstances. So hopefully as I get better in drawing for the camera, it'll make more sense. But we're getting now toward the end here, so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you love Rosario Dawson like I do. And there it is.